So, I bet you're wondering how it's possible that a console from 7 years ago could make me hate using my gaming PC. Well, I am going to show you in just a bit. So, underneath my Nintendo Switch OLED, down below my desk, is my sad gaming PC that I haven't used in probably 2 months because of this Xbox. So why would I use a 7-year-old console instead of my powerful PC? I mean, it has a 7900 XT graphics card in it, and it has a powerful CPU to match. Why would I do it? I love PC hardware. I'm a spec nerd. I love upgrading things, my PC, laptops, etc. I just love that world. But as of late, things have just gotten kind of boring. When I have time for it, troubleshooting games and making things run better is a fun pastime, and I really do enjoy doing it. One big problem I'm finding is I don't have time to troubleshoot anymore. I just want to play games. That's all I have time for. And when I have to wait for my big chungus PC to boot up, it kind of takes away all of the time that I have for playing games, and I just can't afford to troubleshoot. So there are a few problems with my PC right now. The CPU is overheating. I'm not entirely sure why. I have the NHD15 Noctua cooler on there. I have 6 or 7 case fans. So it shouldn't be overheating, but it is. And the weather's not even that hot here, so it doesn't make that much sense to me. One thing that the console has, the Xbox One X, one thing that it has over PC is the way it runs is the way it runs, and it's not going to get any better or any worse. So it's great. I mean, no troubleshooting there either. I don't have to go out of my way to buy more case fans. I don't know, $100 worth of case fans. I don't have to. I don't have to do anything. It just works. You start it up with the remote, by the way, which is super nice. You just press the button and it's on right away. Just start it up with the remote, and you're gaming right away. Like within, I don't know, 2 minutes maybe. On this older console, like if you got a newer one, even it would be faster. So there's no comparison. You're gaming more on an Xbox console than you are on a PC. One other thing I mentioned is on Steam Deck, it's nice because you're not going to be doing work on there. There's no possibility of doing work. And sure, you could have a dedicated gaming PC and say, I am not going to use this for work at all, ever. But one thing that's nice about the Steam Deck is you pretty much cannot do work on there. It's a major inconvenience to do work on there, unless you have the setup for it. So you're not going to be using the controller on the Steam Deck to do work. That's the main thing. And the same goes for the Xbox. We have an Edge browser on the Xbox now, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to be doing work on your Xbox. You're going to game. You have the Xbox for gaming, and it's super nice. One other thing is, look at the size of the PC case. This is a small case. It's an MATX case, and it is still massive compared to the Xbox. If you look at the Xbox, it literally just fits tiny on my desk behind the TV. It's super easy, super convenient, and the other thing I'll mention is super quiet. The only thing you really hear is not fan noise, it's the hard drive spinning in there, because this console still has a hard drive. And even with a hard drive, you're still up and gaming faster than I am with a brand new NVMe SSD in there. You can also imagine with, I don't know, I think it's 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 case fans. You can imagine how loud this thing is. And those two fans on the Noctua cooler there are extremely loud. I bought Noctua fans because I thought they would be quiet, and they kind of are at low RPM, but it's still, there's a lot of turbulence in there, and it gets really loud when I'm gaming. There's one down there. It's so loud. That's the thing about the PC, and it's a big distraction when gaming compared to the Xbox behind the TV. There's no real comparison. It's just so much better on the Xbox. One thing that my cousin said recently was that he plays FPS games only on console, whether that be PS5 or Xbox. He has both. And so do I, but I mainly play on the Xbox now. And I'm sure you're surprised about this just as I was. Why would you play an FPS game on a console where you're getting lower frame rates? It doesn't look as good, the resolution's not as good, etc. Well, he said he plays FPS games on console because they are consistent. And that's all he wants out of his FPS games. And when you think about it, that really, really makes sense. You want consistency out of your FPS games. You want a stable connection. You want stable frame rates. You don't want hitches here and there and everywhere. It just makes sense. You don't want problems when you're playing an FPS game. And that's another thing I really like about the console. The games are so optimized. It's amazing how much they can get running on this weaker hardware. And you think about, I don't know, the Xbox Series X. Oh, that's just, it's just an AMD CPU and GPU. It's RDNA 2, I think. Why would you want just like a weaker, basically laptop grade CPU and GPU when you can have a decked out gaming PC that can kick its butt? Well, all of the difference is in the optimization. Everything designed for the Xbox One and the Series X is designed for those consoles and that hardware. It is optimized up the wazoo, and there is no comparison. And back when the Series X came out, Linus compared the Series X to a gaming PC, basically, and he said, it's almost indistinguishable from high-tier gaming PCs. So I think the moral there is you can get really solid performance out of modern consoles. And even this One X, I have not bought a Series X yet. I'm considering it because I really like the look of the new one that'll be coming out this holiday. It has the green speckles and the white, and the controller's a little bit different. It has the D-pad with the sparkles, so it's not that big of a deal. Mostly the difference is in the storage. You get 2 terabytes instead of 1 terabyte. And you think, oh, well, 1 terabyte's enough storage. Basically, I mean, I have 1 terabyte of storage on my main PC, and it's never been a problem. I have tons of games installed in there. But I will say that the first time I've ever maxed out a 1 terabyte of storage is on this console. I have played so many games on here, and it's just so easy. It's so easy. You can even see right now that I'm downloading Forza. I mean, I have a subscription to Game Pass. I bought 3 months for $50. That seemed like a really solid deal for me. Why buy one game when I could get access to hundreds of games? I think it's like 200, 300, 400 games now that they have available on Game Pass Ultimate. And you can, they just raised the price, but you can still go out and buy a gift card for 3 months that's $50. In fact, on places like Newegg, you can get it for even cheaper, maybe I think it was $42 on Newegg. So definitely a good deal there as well. And then new games like Call of Duty are coming out. I'm not a big fan of those games, but I know a lot of people that are, and you get it day one with Game Pass Ultimate. $50 for 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. One other thing about the visual quality. This Xbox has 4K. They marketed that a lot when the console came out, and HDR support. So it's really nice. Obviously, you can get HDR on and 4K on gaming PCs, but it's super easy to set up on the Xbox. Super easy. And they basically have you do it when you set up the console. So you set and forget. That's a really nice aspect about this thing. I was playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 recently, and it looked amazing. It looked great. I don't have HDR set up on my PC because honestly, I don't know how to set it up. It wasn't an option right off the bat. Not super clear, not super easy. Set it up on the Xbox right out the gate, and it just works. It looks amazing. It looks great. And my monitor is HDR compatible. It was a pretty cheap monitor, Asus TUF gaming monitor. And you can see up at the top 120 FPS. So it's capable of 120 FPS. It's got everything I really want from a console. And I had an Xbox One before that, and I never actually really played on it that much. It was kind of a mid experience, never that good. I didn't consider it really against a gaming PC. I was kind of moving into that PC master race sort of mentality. I thought PC was the only way to go. It was the only thing that made sense. And there are some perks about the PC. You don't have to pay for a subscription for live service games, You don't have to buy into one sect of programs, all right? So you can download games from Steam, you can download games from other websites. You're not limited in any way. And while I do like that, I do like having a choice. I think that this Xbox makes everything so streamlined that those benefits are pretty much outweighed. The power of choice on PC is also a detractor for it. People in live service games download mods and they hack the game and they make all these changes, and anti-cheat software can only go so far, as we've seen in one of my favorite games, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. It doesn't work at all. So there's a benefit there for the console. You're getting what you pay for. You're not getting anything else. So obviously there's a balance there. You go too far in the console direction, you're going to end up falling into that kind of dogmatic view, and you go too far in the PC direction, and the same thing happens. It's hard to say one is definitively better than the other, I would say. But if you've been on the PC side for years, like I have, definitely consider going back to your console and enjoy it like I have. Maybe buy a 3-month Game Pass subscription and test it out and see if you like it. Honestly, it has caused me to enjoy myself a lot more gaming, and it has allowed me to game more frequently. I've been gaming every day. I normally wouldn't do that, even during the summer. So it's nice. It's a big change. Now, I'm totally going to be biased here because one of my favorite games has basically died on PC. Garden Warfare 2. It's just a disaster. Hackers run rampant. I've talked about this, and it's basically unplayable at this point. On the console, there is nothing like that. It's exactly what I want, and it's totally playable, and it runs at 120 FPS. And when my monitor might be lying, it's actually probably lying. 120, maybe, like, I don't know, at the worst case, 120. When it says 120, that's like the smoothest 60 you've ever seen. And if it says 60, that's like the smoothest 30 you've ever seen. That's the worst case. I do think that it does run at 120. I'm not entirely dialed in, with my eyes, being able to tell the difference between 120 and 60. I mean, I notice it here and there. Certainly on Garden Warfare 2, it does feel like it's running at 120 FPS. So that's a nice thing that you don't expect from a console, but it does. I think, unless my monitor may be lying also, I don't know. Red Dead says it's running at 60, and I know for a fact that it's not. It's running at 30 FPS because they haven't updated that to run at 60 yet. So it may be lying. It's probably lying about a couple games, but it's a lot of fun. So you may be thinking, why now? Out of all the times that you could pick to, shift to being a console gamer, why would you do it now? Because all this stuff's going on, all this controversy with Microsoft and raising the price of Game Pass and doing all sorts of stuff like that, and releasing another console that's $600, and they've whenever they've gone to $600 in the past, it's been a major flop, etc. I think it's becoming a better and better time to be a console gamer. You get so much value out of the Series X. I don't understand why more people aren't buying it. You can get it for like $450 or less now, $450 US or less, which is a steal. A steal. You should not be able to get hardware that's that good for that cheap. And obviously, the PS5, they have the PS5 Slim now. Slim, I guess they're not calling it Slim. And it's a fairly good console as well. I mean, same power as the PS5, and in a smaller form factor, but it's more expensive than the Series X because it's kind of newer. And you have the PS5. You could buy the original one, and it's cheaper now too. But honestly, I think I'm more of a fan of the Xbox just because it has a familiar feel. When I grew up, I had PlayStation and Xbox, so I could go between them. I don't know. I always liked the Xbox better, but that's down to personal preference. Now, a year or two ago, a controller would have been kind of a deal breaker. I mean, this is the Xbox One S controller, and to be frank, it sucks. It's not good at all. For shooter games, I've always had a hard time aiming with a controller. On the PC, that problem was pretty much mitigated because obviously you just move your hand and it's more accurate and precise, etc. But with this setup, things are much better. With the high refresh rate and the high visual quality, things are much better. I recently played on my Xbox 360. It's the slim down version. It's kind of newer one. It's not the newest Xbox 360, but it's the one that everybody bought. And I used the controllers, and the input latency, it was so bad. I definitely over romanticized my memories of those controllers. They are just terrible, and aiming is impossible. So this controller even is a massive improvement over that controller and setup. And I played Garden Warfare 1 on there, and the frame rate, it was like it was running at 15 frames per second. And it was unimpeded, it's been cleaned, it's fairly new looking anyway, it's in good condition. So what a disaster of an experience compared to the new one. It's like not even the same game. You can play Garden Warfare 1 on the new Series X, and you can play it on the One X like I have here. So this is the controller that I have been using. I initially got this because I wanted to play PC games with a controller. There were some games that I just wanted to use a controller on, like Forza. I got Forza on my PC. And this is the Series X controller. I got the green one because it's the most obnoxious color. And you can see I've been using it because it has the cord in. That's the cord for my headphones here. And these headphones are fantastic, but I'm not going to talk about those. I talked about them in a different video. Anyway, the difference between this controller and this controller are massive. The rubbers on this one spin, which is not great to begin with. Also, when I use this one, it is impossible to aim. The stick accuracy is just terrible. And compared to the new one is fantastic. The sticks feel amazing. The D-pad is much better. The bumpers feel way more premium. These are kind of smushy bumpers on the old one, just kind of smushy. And the triggers feel much worse, and there aren't any dots on the back for the grip, and it just feels cheaper, Compared to the new one, you have texture everywhere. It's great on the on the underside. It feels really premium. the bumpers and every button is so clicky and beautiful and nice. Um, it's just a fantastic new controller. And, you know, people compare it all the time to the PS5 controller, but when I use the PS5, we never get any use out of all the features that they added. They're just kind of gimmicky. They don't really make that much of a difference. So, honestly, I'm a big fan of the Xbox controller, and I wouldn't let the controller for the console be the deciding factor for which console you decide to go with. Just base it entirely on which games you're going to play. So I guess one thing you could take away from that section is if you've ever played with a controller in the past, whether it be an Xbox One controller or an Xbox 360 controller or something else, note that these controllers are way, way better. There's a massive difference. They are totally playable at this point. Definitely usable. And you know, I've been playing on this screen controller for the better part of, I don't know, 6 months. And so I have some experience with it now, and that's helped a lot. But I would say that this is a much better starting point for a controller than any other controller. The old ones, the old Xbox controllers, and the Xbox 360 controllers, they're nothing compared to the new ones. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention. One thing I do like about the Xbox One, or the Xbox One and the Xbox Series controller is you have this battery door here, and you just pop in some AA batteries whenever you need a new charge, you know. But they do offer a first-party rechargeable battery, which is super nice. And I did buy one of those because, you know, the AA's are nice, they work well, but I was chewing through those things, you know. I've been playing on this thing so much that I was absolutely chewing through my batteries, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot keep doing this. So I did pick up that first party battery accessory, and it came with a cord, a USB-C cable, which is another like really big upgrade for the series controllers. They have USB-C instead of the micro USB that the old controllers had, which basically self-destructs. So that's another big thing, and I do like that over the PlayStation controller, because if the PlayStation controller's battery dies ever, like it's gone, you're not going to replace the battery, you're going to replace the controller. This battery was $15, I think. It was super cheap, and it was just a nice upgrade. And if you want to, you know, you can just keep your controller going for a long time, and it seems like this design is going to be pretty durable. Obviously, these aren't Hall effect sticks, but if you want a more premium experience, you know, you can buy the Elite controller. Those are kind of expensive, and, you know, they're kind of out of my price range at this point, but I may end up picking one of those up in the future. So you have pretty good options with the Xbox. One final thing about the controller is you can sit back and relax. With my desk setup and my chair setup, you know, this is a pretty nice chair, this is a pretty nice desk. I have the mouse pad. My keyboard is, you know, fairly standard keyboard. It's low profile, which actually helps with ergonomics. And I have a nice mouse. It's a Logitech mouse. But the ergonomics of using a mouse and keyboard are just nothing compared to a controller. With a controller, you can sit back, relax, enjoy your time gaming, and, you know, just, you know, recline, and it's nice. And, you know, you can put your Xbox in your family room or wherever you want to put it where there's a big screen TV, and sit back on the couch and play games. It's a really nice setup. So it's much, much more comfortable on the Xbox, you know. And, you know, even in your hands, you can game a lot longer with a controller than you can with a mouse and keyboard. It's just a lot nicer. So just as a kind of final review, I prefer the Xbox over my PC because it's sleeker, it's quieter, it gives me all the power I could ever want. Games run extremely well, they're optimized, and there's no crashing that I've experienced whatsoever. They run at a stable frame rate, they run at a high enough frame rate that I'm not feeling hindered. It's comfortable, there's no troubleshooting, it's streamlined controller is comfortable. You can sit back and relax. Overall, it's just a really solid, no frills, no troubles gaming experience. And it makes it so much easier for me to game in between studying and working. It just makes it so much easier to get that little bit of extra gaming in there because it starts up so quickly and it gets into games right away, even though it has a hard drive. It's super nice. And of course, I still love my PC, and I plan to play plenty of games on there and enjoy the high visual fidelity. But right now, I'm on the Xbox, and I'm here for it, and I love it, and I think it's fantastic. There's no troubleshooting, no issues, no issues. I can't stress that enough. I've had so many issues in the last 2 years with my PC. It's just, I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's especially since I don't have the time. So it's really nice to just go on and play whatever games I want on the Xbox One X. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I was just sitting here thinking about a few extra things that I could have said. And I just, I think I want to get these across as well. Number one, I am a CS major, computer science, in college. So if you're going to come at me about having zero PC knowledge, I don't know, just bear that in mind. I'm into this stuff. Just let that be known. I am into PCs and troubleshooting and all that. It's just that sometimes you want to game unimpeded. You want to have just a solid experience. Anyway, I don't care if you take a whack at me. That's fine. But I just want, people to know and be aware that I do have, fairly decent experience with this kind of stuff. The other thing is about the Xbox. This one, I did not buy it brand new in 2017. We got it like a year or two ago for basically my sister. We got it just basically a family Xbox, but I'm sure most of you out there have like some console that you haven't touched in years, and definitely go back to this. We got this from GameStop just to play some Red Dead, I think it was, to Red Dead Redemption 2. We went out and got it because our Xbox wasn't working, so we wanted one to play Red Dead. So that's how that went. Another thing is the console. Well, let's see. Backwards compatibility. That's what I wanted to talk about. Well, a lot of people have complained that the Series X and S have basically no exclusives at this point. My point is that it basically doesn't matter. The PC doesn't really have any big exclusives. I mean, obviously you can play more games on the PC than you can anywhere else. But, everyone brags that the PS5 has exclusives. But I don't think that really makes much of a difference. You have so many games at your disposal playing on this console. More games than you could ever possibly hope to play. And you're obviously going to have favorites that you come back to, so you're going to have more games than you care to play anyway. And whether or not those are exclusive, it doesn't really matter to me. So that's one thing to bear in mind if you're considering joining coming back to an Xbox One or a Series console. So those are the main things that I kind of left out. I do want to show you the battery that's in here. It just looks like that. And I don't know, pretty simple. Just a little tiny battery sits in there. And you plug the controller in through the USB-C port in the front, and it just works, and it's great. So that's it. Anyway, thank you for watching again.